Good afternoon. We're extremely pleased that you are still on board and here with us for co-creation at its best. You're knowing what you are wanting? We think you do. We think you're warmed up. We think you have an understanding of how this works, the universe, the law of attraction, your point of attraction. And so we're here for refining and clarifying and really mastering the art of allowing a consistent state of being with little or no resistance. If we were standing in your physical shoes, that would be our quest, to be physically focused amidst variety, wanted and unwanted exposure, with such a steady sense of who we are that no matter what is happening around, we stand stable in our knowing of well-being. And so we're eager to talk with you. You feel ready to begin? You want to jump right in? Let's get after this. All right. A lot of trouble in this room. Not really. You are magnificent. Oh. Begin right here.
Okay, this is hot. I appreciate Jerry, Esther, and Abraham all involved in this work. It's amazing. It's changed my life. So my question, how can I communicate directly with Source or my inner being or Abraham or the others who have made their transition to non-physical? How can I communicate directly and make sure and have solid proof that I am communicating directly with them and not with others? That's my question.
We wanted to jump in before you clarified further to say to you that you are always communicating because you are always emitting a vibrational signal of intent and interest and beingness. So you are always communicating. But sometimes when you mean communicating, you mean back and forth. And that's what the second part of your question clarified. You want to make sure that what you are receiving is what you intend to receive. You know, for years, right from the beginning, when Esther would stand or sit, in the early days she was sitting, clinging for dear life to her chair, because it's a sort of swooning, sort of odd experience as her consciousness was rising, sometimes swiftly. Her words always to us in her mind were, Abraham, I want to speak clearly your words, because this mattered to her too. She wanted to be sure that she was in vibrational sync with that source energy that she had come to know and trust and love as Abraham. And so over time, well, we always gave her reassurance, but she had to find that reassurance within herself. And what it required was paying attention to her own emotions, because your emotions are your indicator of the degree of your resistance. So when you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, you can feel the clarity and the power of it and the love, the certainty of it, the unequivocal nature of it. In other words, Esther would know. There was no possibility of it not being what she wanted it to be. She could feel it. But it took a little while for her to trust that stability. And she noticed right from the beginning that if she was wrapped around in a problem of some kind, and that was the time that she and Jerry would sit down to talk with Abraham, sometimes it would take longer for her in that transitioning, in the allowing of the rising of her vibration. And she could tell that if she was not ready, we were not there, not in the clarity and the power that she knew.
Is that the only proof? I mean, just a feeling? Can I have some solid proof? Because I think I have communicated.
You can, but what happens is, this is the way we really want to answer this question, and we know you will hear it. As you sit in rooms like this around the world, and allow yourself to sort of absorb or take in the conversation from this platform. Often it could look to you just like a very dedicated woman who seems with strong conviction about what she's saying, but it could feel to you just like another opinion that you could take or leave. It isn't until you actually allow yourself, sometimes through meditation, sometimes just through a joyful moment when you are, without trying to, connected to source energy. But when you allow yourself by default, which isn't much deliberate intent on your part, or by deliberate intent, like segment intending, or focus willing, or meditation, which allows a rising of vibration. Once you allow that rising of vibration, and once you acknowledge that you can feel the difference, that you can feel the clarity of your being, and then as impulses and ideas occur to you under that situation, and you follow through with action on that impulse, and you follow the impulse to an end that you know, you and only you know. In other words, you are making agreements and bargains with your non-physical counterpart all day, every day. And so it is with your deliberate intention that you set forth. That's the first step. In other words, if you are not deliberately intending something, then you're not as likely to find the logical match that comes later. So people who are just sort of moving through life and not being deliberate, they don't have that sense of confidence.
I think I've tried that, and it even worked. But see, with deliberate intent, I picked up my cell phone, and it's funny, but I used my nose to type in some, when I was in the state of meditating, typed in some words with my head moving without me controlling it. And then even the words like, this is Abraham, this is Abraham.
No, this is Abraham, this is Abraham. No, this is Abraham, this is Abraham.
No, that's
This
okay.
is Abraham. This is Abraham.
Right. I mean, it clearly wrote, typed those words on my cell phone, but I still didn't believe it. How? I mean, it's still not like...
Well, that's what we were saying earlier. We can offer to you, but you've got to figure out how to be in the receiving mode where you know. But we can give you something here that will really help you a lot. Because there's a little piece of misunderstanding happening within you. A lot of people too, so we're happy to offer this clarification. Rather than looking for an immediate proof or action or result, look for a feeling of connection. Let your intention be to have a moment that feels good to you. So it will feel like satisfaction, or it will feel like clarity, or it will feel like love. It will feel like ease and flow. In other words, you're reaching for the connection first. You got to find the connection, but you're getting out ahead of yourself because you're wanting to skip over finding the connection and then just get the proof that you are connected. And that's what's messing you up. We've been saying recently, because it's the evolution of this conversation that we're all having together. So we want to say to you, we like it when you come to the place where you are aware of and seeking and excited about the amazing power of non-resisted thought. That's what source flowing through you feels like. It is non-resisted thought. You not believing it is resisted thought. You doubting it is resisted thought. You believing it, you knowing it, that's non-resisted thought. So we've been talking about the power of non-resisted thought, which brings about the results that you're talking about here. And now we're saying to you, rather than going after the power and therefore the results of non-resisted thought, let it be that you are seeking the pleasure of non-resisted thought. Not something to take and point and do something with and prove and correct and defend or accomplish. All of that comes, but when you're looking for it and you don't think you've got it, then you can't get it. So don't look for the power of it, look for the pleasure of it. And once you have relaxed into the pleasure of it a bit, you'll trust it. You'll know the difference between a moment when you've segment intending and it feels to you as you move through life. You have an ease about you. It is that, but it's not only that doors are opening and life is easier for you. That certainly is following and maybe shortly coming. It's the ease with which you experience the moment. Life is right now, right now, right now. It's one segment after another, after another, after another. And most people are looking for a segment that's out there, and they're on their way to it while they're willing to suffer and pay a price on their way to something better. And we want to say to you, you can't have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. You can't have a successful, I know I'm tuned into source energy moment following or on the heels of, I'm not sure that I'm really hooked up. You just can't get there from there. Your first step has to be that you allow yourself the pleasure of connection. And it will help you a great deal if you're not looking so hard for the connection to do something with it, if you're just looking for the pleasure of the connection. If you heard that, then we can all go to the casino.